All right, guys, so now that we've gone over all the fundamentals of React, we've dealt with the context API and making HTTP requests, state, props, components, all that stuff. Now we're going to start to deal with Redux, okay, which is a state manager, and it's really good for really large applications. And what I want you to do is in your this lecture, you should have a zip file called contact manager _ Redux. That's going to be your starting point from here on. And basically it's the app that we already created minus all the context API stuff. Okay, we want to replace it with Redux. And what I want to do in this video is get it running and then show you exactly what we're working with, what I did to it, what I removed and stuff like that. And then we'll get to Redux. So go ahead and unzip that folder, put it where you want, and then open your terminal in that folder. And you just want to run npm install to install all the dependencies. Okay, so React, React DOM, all this extra stuff we installed like Axios and class names, stuff like that is all going to get installed now. Okay, it's going to create the node modules folder. And then after that, we'll open it up in VS Code and we'll start the dev server. Okay, a lot of things aren't going to work because we completely removed the context API and a lot of it was based around that, but it will actually run. So I'm going to open this up in VS Code first, and then I'm going to start the dev server. So I'm going to say npm start. Okay, so, and you're going to get some warnings that just say like new contact is assigned a value but never used. It's just stuff that isn't used because we still have to do that stuff, and that stuff is going to take Redux. So the server is running, and notice that we do have some contacts. Notice that in the source folder, the context.js file is completely gone. Okay, so the context API is no longer being used. What I've done is I've moved the contacts back into the contacts component. So if we look at contacts.js, you'll see, whoops, that's contact. Let's look at contacts, and you'll see that it's just there right in the state again. Okay, so we just reverse back to this point, and we're just passing them into the contact, and we're rendering each one. Now, remember when we were deleting contacts, adding them, editing them, we were dealing with the context file. Okay, we had that reducer, and we sent an action type to the reducer, and that would handle, you know, removing them from the DOM and stuff like that. Well, we don't have that anymore, so the delete's not going to work. The edit, if we click that, we're not fetching anything to put in the form. That's not going to work. If you try to add a contact, that's not going to work because we have no state management right now. So this is where Redux comes in. We're going to implement it so that we can get it back to where it was, only using Redux instead of the context API. And notice, for instance, in like add contact where we were sending the dispatch to context, I just removed that and I just put a placeholder. So this is where we want to submit the contact, and we're going to do that using a Redux action. Okay, so I have some comments in certain places like edit. Right here is where we want to do the update and so on. Okay, so in the next video, I'm going to show you how to get Redux installed. We want to install two things, Redux itself, and then React Redux, which is the library that connects the two together. Because Redux can be used by itself, it can be used with other frameworks. A lot of people think it's part of React, but it's not. The React Redux library is what you use to basically connect the two together. Okay, so I will see you in the next video.